Screenless. Hello and welcome to another episode of Creative Cuppa. I hope you're having a fantastic week. I'm Gareth Davies, and in each episode I chat to someone working in the many fabulous creative industries. I wonder where you're listening to this. Let me know on the socials using @ScreenlessPod. That's on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. I tend to listen to podcasts either in the car or when I'm out walking Flash Gordon. That's my dog. Not the classic sci-fi character. That would probably get some looks, wouldn't it? Anyway, I hope you're doing well and that you're able to move around a bit more with things easing. Now, if you were glued to the Channel 4 series The Great Pottery Throwdown like me, you would have seen a wonderful group of people, and pardon the pun, thrown together in what was a pretty difficult year all round. And week after week, those potters rose to each challenge with determination and good humour. By the way, me and my wife Danny watched that with some friends of ours on a chat group. Hi, Rod and Joe and Amy and Ewan. And we did a sweepstake for the winner. Of course, I chose Ara, which I feel is an accurate reflection of my gambling skill. Anyway, I was absolutely delighted to have this chat with the winner of the latest series, Jodie Neale. So if you have your cuppa at the ready, here we go. Jodie Neale, ceramic artist and winner of the Great Pottery Throwdown 2021. Welcome to Creative Cuppa.
No, thank you for having me.
Or should I call you Grot?
Grot, that's what the family calls me, so you can use
Is
that.
there a story behind that?
Apparently, I was a bit of a terror as a child, so it just went really well, yeah. It was, a bit of a whirlwind and always getting into mischief, so they just used to shout Grot at me. So it's stuck ever since. All my cousins, my aunties, my uncles, everyone calls me Grot. So
oh, nice, yeah. It's endearing, isn't it?
Exactly. It was funny though when I on the pottery throwdown, they had me phoning my parents, and the first thing my father said, "It was automatic." Oh, well done, Grot. And then I had to explain to everyone, and didn't I? And they thought it was funny.
So is that now your nickname within that group as well?
No.
Oh, phew.
That's the nickname, but not Grot, not quite yet.
So, Jodie, it's well documented that you are an NHS nurse as well as being a ceramic artist. So the last year must have been a very unusual year for you.
Yeah. It was a year of two halves. Obviously, something wonderful happened with the show and going to the final. But then with the pandemic hitting, as you can imagine, it was pretty horrendous, pretty scary. Working as a theatre nurse, they stopped all elective cases straight away. So it was not left to just us, but a lot of nurses were moved to different environments like intensive care, so I'm to learn different skills and I'm to look after acutely unwell patients. So it's all nurses found it difficult. Ward nurses, community nurses is just and doctors and domestics and everyone.
Yeah, I mean the true heroes of 2020, as far as I'm concerned.
I think so.
Yeah, the frontline workers it's just amazing in what was a very, very scary year, wasn't it, for everyone?
Yes, exactly.
Now, you mentioned on your website that you've yearned to be creative for as long as you can remember.
Yeah.
Was it always ceramics and pottery? How did all that start?
No, it's only been ceramics. When I applied for the throwdown, I'd only had 2 years experience, but that was
wow.
A year ago now. So it's 3 years I've got under my belt and I'm still learning every time I touch clay. Things in the past I've done is carving wood, stonemasonry, welding, anything, painting, anything creative really. As a child, I always used to cut up my magazines and fiddle about with, they were animal magazines with little cute kittens or whatever, but I'd make like these big photo montages of them, just anything to change what I had into something, that I create. So yeah, it's always been a little escape for me.
Yeah, so it's anything, well, I suppose anything creative with your hands, I suppose, is the link, isn't it? Because you did contemporary craft at college and then a fine art degree at Carmarthen. And then you were being a healthcare assistant at local NHS, found a new sense of purpose and went on to do a nursing degree. Mm-hmm. I mean, that must have been a very busy, if not rather stressful period in your life to be doing all of those things.
Yeah, I've always liked, I always stick with the rule. You don't have to do one thing, you know, your life doesn't have to be, you know, tunnel vision, just stick to this and on your way you go. You know, I like to dip in and out of different things. I like riding motorbikes, I like cycling, swimming, all that kind of thing. So I just think, you know, it's a lot in this world to do. So just try and do as much as you can, you know, in the time you have kind of thing, you know. But going from school straight to art, it was always the obvious choice for me because it was always my favourite subject. I did my fine art degree, which was fantastic, and I did it in Carmarthen, so it was only an hour away, so, you know, could still see the family and stuff. But after that, my mother is a nurse, and she was like, well, if you want to, you know, earn a bit of money now, you finish your degree, you've got to stop anyway, get a job. And I fell in love with being a healthcare assistant. It's a privileged role, you know, when people got that time of need and you were the one there helping them in that time of need. It is a real privilege, you know. So yeah, I fell in love with it and I wanted to go on and become qualified.
I don't think it's for everybody, is it? I think, because I used to be a teacher as well.
All right.
And I think you have to be a certain kind of person to get the best out of those kinds of jobs.
Yeah, I've been in different roles that perhaps suit other people better. Like when I worked on the district, you see a lot of palliative care and very, you know, distressing circumstances. And some of the girls I worked with in those situations, they were the best type of personalities, you know, that kind of thing. I used to look at myself and think perhaps I'm more suited in a different setting because I could never be as good in that environment as them, you know. But in other settings, especially as a theatre nurse, is very hands-on and that suited me better, you know. So I think you've got to try all these different things. But yeah, to be a nurse, I think you have to like people, obviously. Oh, well, yeah. You've got to be a people person.
And you've got to be a people person to feature on Channel 4's Great Pottery Throwdown as well. No. I mean, we've got to talk about that. How did you get involved in that? And what was the experience like for you?
I was a real fan of the first three seasons. And the first 2 seasons that come out, I hadn't touched clay. So I went, I think off the back of seeing that, I went to a pottery class. And yeah, wow. I fell in love with the material. And up until applying for the throwdown, the only thing I'd actually done was throw things on the wheel. So making these round vessels. And then all of a sudden, 6 out of 10 challenges were hand building. So it was like, oh, okay.
Right.
Learning all these new processes and looking at YouTube videos every night and thinking, how on earth do people do it? You know, I was just completely in awe. But it's opened up a whole new world to me, you know, of hand building. So, and, you know, a lot of people think pottery is on the wheel, and it's not. It's lovely to have that skill. Yeah. It's still my favourite process to do, but there's so much more to it, you know, that I didn't really realise until going on the show. So I can thank the show for that, definitely.
So you were doing new things as they were being thrown at you, so to speak, on the show?
Yes. Well, 6 out of 10 of the main challenges were hand building. So the 6 out of 10 of those challenges I'd never even done before.
Wow, so, that's quite amazing. And it's almost self-fulfilling, isn't it? That the Pottery Throwdown inspired you to do it in the first place, and then you would go on to win it. That's amazing.
During the application, all they said was, what do you want to get out of the experience? And I said, oh, well, learn new techniques. Well, they listened, obviously, because they were just throwing things at us all the time. Like coiling, I'd never coiled the pot, and they wanted us to do these big Acoma pots. It was like, right, get on YouTube, see how they do it.
Good old YouTube, yeah. I think every creative in the world probably at some point just goes, yeah, don't know how to do that. Let's look at YouTube.
Oh, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing, you know. Yeah, it opens up so many doors, and I wouldn't have. It's the kind of thing, coiling a pot sounds simple, but also you got the time restraints. So it's like, how do you learn a completely new technique and do it well in a very short amount of time? So yeah, luck was on my side a lot of the time, I'll be honest with you.
And by the way, coiling a pot does not sound simple at all.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, it filmed during the pandemic, so it was all locked down. You're in a bubble,
Yeah.
which won't have happened on the show before. Do you think that made your group? I mean, you certainly looked like a really tight knit group by the end. What was that like, living with everybody and being in that bubble?
Being in it was wonderful, to be honest with you, because if you look back at the time, it was last summer, so we'd gone from March lockdown, all these uncertain times, and then I living on my own as well, so it was quite lonely, and obviously coming home quite upset from work a lot of the time, and then to be put in a house with all these other potters, which again I didn't know any other potters, and they were just so nice. They're just lovely people. They just, thank goodness they were picked, because I had to live with them, so it was nice that they were nice. But I just remember everybody couldn't believe their luck that they were actually there.
Everyone in that situation is in the same boat, so you've immediately got like a connection that way, haven't you?
Nerves, I think, helped us bond.
Do you keep in touch?
Yeah, all the time, every day. We've got a WhatsApp group, which is nice to keep in touch, but for the most part, it is, I messed this up, what did I do wrong? Help. So it's nice to have that little that little group that can help each other out, which is what we did on the show anyway. A lot of the time behind the scenes practicing, we were practicing on a row of tables, so nothing was secretive. It was all very much like, this is how you do it, good luck on the day, hope it goes well, crack on, so.
Yeah. Brilliant. Something really makes sense to me now because of how you've explained how you throw yourself into things. I saw on your Instagram that you made your own raku kiln.
Yeah.
I mean, there you go. Done.
Dustbin. It's
a dustbin.
It's mad. So yeah, on the show we did raku, which was,
yes, you did. It was
one of the most exciting things I've ever done, and it all went wrong on the day, but then it came out okay, so it was fine. But it was just the adrenaline and the heat and the flames. It was like, right, I've got to do this myself.
Yeah, that's part of the excitement though with raku, isn't it? That you don't quite know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, that's it. You can, the more you do it, the more you're going to know the outcome, and what materials you use and how you apply them is going to have a big effect on what you want to create. But yeah, for the most part, it's just pure anarchy. It's great.
Was that the first time you'd done that then on the show?
On the show, yeah.
Wow.
Didn't have raku kilns to practice, so again, good old YouTube.
Wow. So that filming was the first time you'd.
Yeah, and I messed it up. The pots were way too hot, and then I put the materials on, and they came out. I turned around, I looked back at the pot, and they'd all disappeared. So it was like, oh my goodness. Well, I thought to myself then, I was like, oh well, I've had a good innings. I'm off home. Then I did it again, and when I did it again, it was at the right temperature, and they stayed put. So it was, even though my heart was in my mouth, I remember at the end I was just running around the yard with my feather duster because I was so excited. It was good. I'm glad they left.
And you've got some amazing moon pots that you've been making. On your Instagram as well.
A lot of raku that I've been doing is all very smooth, and because that's what we did on the show, that's what I know. Burnishing it all very smooth, but I'm learning to add texture and use different materials from my kitchen cupboard to make these different marks and stuff. But it's just it's fun. And you learn every time you do it. And it's summer at the moment, so it's nice to get outside.
Yeah, and it is a big thing about creativity, that it can be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
So you can just create, have fun, your imagination is the limit, whatever takes you there.
Who's to say what's good or bad, Who's to say you should or shouldn't do something? It is your imagination. You know what that your material can do, how far you can push it. You just get to make things, and if other people like them, great. But it's always for you that you make it in the first instance, But it's just I'm having a lot of fun.
Amen to that. That's brilliant. So, talking about your pots and everything, where can people find you and your work online? Well,
since the end of the show, people were asking to buy my things, which I'm very grateful about. So I've made a website. So literally just my name, jodieneale.com. So pretty simple to find. And obviously I've only got a small kiln and so much time, so I don't make huge amount of work, but whenever I do, I put it on there.
And you're currently sold out.
Yeah, lovely.
Lovely.
Like I say, I don't do huge amount of things, so there's no big shop updates come in. And I like to take my time with things as well and get a good finish.
Yeah, quite right too. I'll put that in the show notes for you, maybe your Instagram as well, because that's always fun to see. But for now, Jodie Neale, thanks so much for joining me for a cuppa.
Oh, no problem. Thank you very much.
Thanks again to Jodie for sharing her stories. And as she mentioned, you can go to jodieneale.com to see her pots. And that's in the show notes underneath this episode if you are in a podcast app. Also in the show notes are links to the Creative Cuppa Facebook group, open to everyone. So come and say hello. And of course, the socials, the Creative Cuppa homepage and the Buy Me a Cuppa link if you'd like to support the show with a donation to help keep the lights on. You can review this episode on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser, and you can find instructions on how to do that at creativecuppa.uk. Creative Cuppa is produced by the Sound Boutique, and if you're thinking of starting a podcast, they can help. Link in the show notes too. Until next time then, thanks for joining me for a cuppa.